Hey, what's up, guys? Dan here again, and I'm here with my student James. And James is making about $10,000 to $11,000 a month with Amazon FBA. He's a student in my course, the Amazon Freedom course. And you've been in the course for how long now?
I joined back in January, but I kind of caught up with the whole Chinese New Year, so it kind of delayed a couple of my orders. But
Yeah, I've had that
joined the
happen.
course back in January and wanted to get on it as soon as possible. So I've been selling for roughly half a year now, I think, probably a few months.
So you've been
Actually,
selling for a few
on
months.
Amazon. Sorry?
You've been selling for a few months now.
Yeah, selling for a few months, but as I said, started the course back in January, but didn't get selling straight away because of Chinese New Year.
Got it. So now you are making you told me about 10 to 11,000. I've got a screenshot. It's going to be right up here. So 10 to 11,000 a month in revenue. And is that from one product?
Yeah, that's just from one product at the moment. So it's 10 and 11, well, roughly 10K revenue a month. But I'd say the hardest thing was probably getting that profitable. You know, it's pretty easy to get the revenue up on Amazon, but making sure that it's consistently profitable is probably the hardest part.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us about your story. Tell us about who you are, kind of your background, where you come from, and what made you start Amazon. What made you start looking into online business and stuff like that.
Well, it's actually I discovered. So I'm kind of got another company that I actually run as well, and I was actually trying to increase the Instagram followers for that company at the time, and I was looking at videos on YouTube to do that. And I came across one of James Bowen's videos, who's like a kind of another Amazon seller on YouTube. And as he was kind of giving these Instagram tips, he explained about Amazon FBA, and that was kind of the catalyst that just led me down the rabbit hole that is Amazon FBA. Eventually stumbling on your videos, which were actually quite difficult because they kind of took you through the whole process, which eventually led to me purchasing the course and now having my product on Amazon. But originally come from a product design background. And even though it seems like that would help a lot with Amazon FBA, I didn't actually use my expertise too much. So I wasn't actually creating like a brand new product, just kind of putting small innovations on an existing product, and it actually worked quite well in the end.
So you're a product designer. Is that your profession? Is that what you've been doing before you started Amazon?
Yeah, so that was what I was doing previous to Amazon, and I was working in that industry full time. And I was actually in Hong Kong, so I was working in Hong Kong because it's such close proximity to Shenzhen, which gives you really close relationship with the manufacturers. So it's only like 2 hours across the border from Hong Kong into Shenzhen, which means every weekend I was down with the manufacturers and suppliers, which was great experience leading into Amazon FBA because a lot of it is dealing with suppliers and working with that relationship.
So you actually met suppliers in Shenzhen.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I have done.
How was that?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I definitely recommend it to anyone because I think a lot of people have a lot of preconceptions about how Shenzhen is and how Chinese culture is and how the manufacturers are as well. But when you go and meet them face to face, I mean, obviously it's different with each supplier. You're always going to get different results, but usually it's a lot better than you expect, and they're a lot more welcoming, and they almost kind of treat you like royalty in a way, obviously because they want your business, but it's a good experience nonetheless.
That's crazy. I think you're one of the only students in the Amazon Freedom course who actually met up with suppliers, because me personally, I've never met any supplier in China ever.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've never been to China. Maybe eventually I'll go to China.
Yeah.
So you were a product designer. Were you very much in a corporate life? Is that what you've been doing? Kind of, you went down the traditional path and then you switched over to online business?
Yeah, I'd say it was probably the traditional corporate path. Obviously, the creative industry is a little bit different. It's a little bit more relaxed with kind of hours and especially uniform and things like that. But it was definitely the corporate path where I thought, okay, I'm just going to look to get these promotions over several years. And the job that I actually ended up getting was my dream job at the time. It was the job that I thought that I wanted, but then, once I was in the job, I found it kind of wasn't actually, the reality wasn't what I expected it to be. So I was kind of looking for ways out almost immediately.
And why was that? Why wasn't the reality what you expected it to be?
Because the money was good with the job, but there was just no freedom. And in Hong Kong at the time as well, the holiday days are not, you don't get that much holiday over a year. So you're kind of looking at your year, you take 2 weeks off and that's kind of it for the whole year, and kind of thinking to myself, well, is this going to be it for the next 50 years? You know, I just continue to show up here. I have 2 weeks off a year. I go on like 1 or 2 holidays max, and that's kind of going to be it. You know, it's not really that exciting, and it didn't really motivate me a huge deal. Even though the company was great and the job was probably perfect, in the end, it just didn't feel like what I wanted to do.
Right, and actually, in fact, I felt the exact same way because I used to work at one of the big banks here in Canada. I had that job.
Okay.
I had that job while I was in university. I was fortunate enough to get it, I guess. It was a blessing in disguise because for me, I basically saw my whole life ahead of me, just like you. And we also only got 2 weeks vacation a year. And one of the biggest things I asked myself was, how can okay, fine, I'm going to do this for 50 years, fine. But the thing is that, you know, I'm making the money, and first of all, I'm broke because it all like automatically goes to rent, you know, bills and all that. But also, it's like I'm making money, but I can't even use the money because I'm always at work.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely a balance, and maybe the balance in the corporate world is not that great at the moment. And when there's such easy alternatives with kind of online business, it seems to make more sense, to be honest. Yeah.
So,
I completely agree.
So take us through how you found your product, you know, some of the obstacles you've had, and basically why you think, you know, what contributed to your success, like why you think it's profitable, and some of your plans for the future as well.
Well, I actually launched 2 products at the same time. So, you know, I understood that there was probably going to be some failures when I was going into this. I was trying to.
So you right away, you launched 2 products.
I launched 2 products at the same time, yeah.
Okay, and by the way, well, this is, you know, just pause for a second, because when I was first starting Amazon, I was thinking, well, you know, if there's going to be a failure, and, you know, in entrepreneurship, there's probably going to be a failure, you know, I can mitigate the failure by launching 2 or 3 products, because then I'm probably guaranteed a success, right? And for me, I realized that, I didn't think that was the way that things worked. I just had a bad gut feeling about it, and you can tell us that your experience with that. So instead of that, I decided to just focus on one thing, like focus on my product, and that's what contributed to I still failed, but, you know, it was only 2 products or whatever, and then that was what contributed to my success. I think that if I had launched 3 or 4 products at the same time, because, you know, I would have just spent way too much money. I would have been, you know, all over like different products, like not focused, you know. And so anyway, tell us what your experience was with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's a trade-off between speed and kind of how much effort you're putting into a single product. On one hand, you want to be as quick as possible so you can learn as much as possible and kind of rinse and repeat. But on the other hand, you actually want to be putting effort into the product and actually differentiating it in some way, you know, making sure you're doing your due diligence and your research in the market niche. So I launched 2 products, and one of them I actually didn't feel that good about, the one that ended up failing. But I kind of did it anyway because I was willing to kind of risk the money. I was willing to lose the money that I was investing in it. So I was like, the worst case scenario is going to be an expensive learning experience for me.
But before you did that product, you had a bad gut feeling about it. Is that what you said?
No, so I had 2 products. One I had a good feeling about. The other one I didn't have a great feeling about, and I was kind of on the fence whether or not to do it. And then I kind of just did it anyway because I was willing to lose the money on it for the lesson that potentially came in return.
Okay.
So it did end up failing, but I did learn a lot from it. And I think now I've launched those 2 products, one being a success, you know, it gives you much better perspective on the research going forward, you know, how to pick a product going forward and learning from the mistakes you made. But I think it's definitely right what you said about it's probably best to kind of focus on one specific area, even though it's kind of hedging your bets or putting all your eggs in one basket. It's much better to put the effort into that one product and actually try and differentiate it well and give the market what they want. I think that's probably going to give you the chance for most success on Amazon.
Okay, and so right now you've got one product making that money, right?
Yeah, 10K a month, and it's actually not in that much of a competitive niche. So I didn't do a launch service.
You didn't do a launch?
I didn't do a launch. No, I just went super aggressive on PPC.
Okay.
Which meant it was losing money for the first few weeks, but it was slowly ranking up the pages. But I kind of prefer now, I think that's going to be my strategy going into the future, is going for much less competitive niches, because I don't get a lot of the problems with this product that I see a lot of other people getting with hijackers and kind of black hat techniques from their competitors. It seems to be pretty stable, and it means that I don't have to actually invest too much time into it. So kind of going for these lower hanging fruit, the kind of 10K, maybe 5K or even 15K, it makes your life a little bit easier if you can build on those products, I think.
Yeah, and actually I completely agree, and I've been saying this for a while, that where you are right now, the sweet spot is like 10K, 15K is a little on the high end, but there's a sweet spot on Amazon where people, because people always think about 30K, 25K, 20K, right? And because a lot of the times, people they're broke or they're in bad situations. They just want to make 30K. They want to go from rags to riches, right? And it is what it is. But in reality, the 30K, like anything above 20K on Amazon, gets all the black hat stuff, gets all the you have like very fierce competition that are trying to pull each other down. And Amazon actually, in fact, at that, like if you have one product making that much money, it almost becomes like a curse, because you always have to like keep looking at your listing all day. You always have to refresh and like keep looking, and you can't just like chill, right? And the whole point of this is obviously passive income. You want to just like, you want to have a product, you want to have a system that's making you money, so you can take the money and then, you can use a part of it for your own life, and then you can reinvest it into another product. So in fact, the best strategy, and I've always said this, the best strategy is, and it's what I've personally done, is to focus on like the products that are even, 5K a month, like 6K, 7K a month, 10K a month, because then you're not having as many problems with, hijackers and all this other stuff, which is a natural thing on Amazon, right? You really can't run away with it from it. So like instead of having one product that's doing 30K a month, just have 3 products that do 10K a month. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And it's less investment as well to do the lower, the product that's selling a little less units.
You are diversifying your risk, because if you have one product that's making 30K a month, well, you have to probably reorder like 2,000 units at a time, right? And that's a lot of capital that you're tying into your stock. And if whatever happens, maybe your product loses demand or whatever, right? Competition comes in. You only have one product. Well, your 30K suddenly goes down, and then you've already tied up the capital. So instead, you can mitigate risk by having a lot of products. Like I've seen so many storefronts on Amazon, and I still see it to this day, and it's like the best strategy. There are storefronts with like 30, 40, 50 products. They're all making 4K, 5K a month. Well, if you add them up, right? If you add them up, that's like they're making an insane amount of money, right? And usually they're branded. They're private label like brands, which is exactly what I tell people to do. So so are you like planning on building a brand with your product now, or what's going on with that?
Potentially, it's a little bit of a small niche. So there is a couple more products that I could probably bring into the brand, and the Instagram account and social media following has grown quite a lot now. So it's something that could be used as leverage for the future. But so I'm going to look at expanding that.
You have an Instagram. You have an Instagram account for your brand?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was part of the differentiation as well, was marketing the product in a slightly different way, which went quite well with the Instagram account, and it's been received quite well. I think it has like 2K followers now, and growing steadily. So that helps a lot with launching new products. So it'd be a shame to waste that. So definitely going to look at building the brand out, and as you say, the more products, it kind of de-risks the income that's coming in slightly.
Yeah. So this is a very good question that I have for you. Compare yourself now to before finding out about online business or finding out about Amazon. How did you feel before, getting into the course, for example? Were you skeptical about, I don't know, the course or Amazon or online business? And compare that to how you feel about everything now.
Yeah, I think before you feel the way that probably most people feel, and that is a little bit of skepticism. The kind of questions you're asking yourself, is this going to be a total waste of money? Am I not going to see this $2,000, $4,000, $6,000 back that you're going to spend on inventory and buying a course and stuff like that? And at the time, it's difficult to see the other side until you get to the other side. But now I am the other side. It all seems so much more accessible to me. And I think I've seen a few people say similar things before, but it kind of opens your eyes up to a lot more opportunity online, I think. Once you realize that it is possible to make money, even if you get one sale on Amazon, that first sale, when you see that money coming in, it kind of reassures you that it's all reality and it's not all just smoke and mirrors, and there is money that can be made. And now I see a lot of the YouTube videos, is Amazon dead, blah blah blah, people kind of quoting on the current situation. And now you're kind of in it. Obviously I'm not hugely experienced in Amazon, but now you can kind of see the truth. What people are saying is right. There's still plenty of opportunity on Amazon. It's not saturated. Well, it is saturated, but it doesn't mean that there's kind of no opportunity there, for new sellers. It's definitely possible. And I don't want this to come across as arrogant, but it was actually easier than I thought it was initially going to be, which was surprising.
So you thought it'd be a lot harder?
Yeah, I thought there'd be much more barriers to entry and much more longer period where I'd be kind of trying and failing, but to see success so quickly was quite a surprise, I think.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things, like through my YouTube and everything, I want people to know, right? Like I want a person to go on my channel and I want them to see like, hey, so I want to start an online business. I'm skeptical because I'm part of the 99%. I've been working a 9-to-5 job. I have some debt, just the average person. And I want the average person to go on the channel and I want them to I want them to know that there are opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities, but I want them to know the opportunities out there that are not very hard. They just require you to actually put in the work and commit to it, just like you did, right? By telling yourself, so you set yourself a goal, right? You probably did?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So what was your goal? Like, if you...
The first goal was to make 10K revenue a month, which I exceeded. And then the second goal was to make sure that it was, 2.5K profit a month, like consistently over 3 months, which is gone past that now as well. So now moving on to the next goals, next and bigger things.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that. But what I was saying was, a lot of people, just in reality, most people, and just by doing YouTube, just by doing all this stuff, right? Yeah. I've learned a lot about people, like a hell of a lot. And a lot of people are in the same boat where they are skeptical. But the thing is, they're curious. They're curious, but they're skeptical. Yeah. So they're on both both sides of the spectrum. And whenever they go to the more curious side of things, they're watching the videos. But then they let fear take over their heads. They let fear take over them. Like, oh no, I'm not gonna. That's not for me. It's gonna be a waste of money. But then the next day they go to work and then they ask themselves at work, why am I doing this? And then they go home and then they watch the videos again and they read the books, whatever, right? So in reality, it's like, look, these are the opportunities, and it doesn't matter if they're saturated or not saturated, because clearly there are people like yourself that are making money and that have made it work. So what is the problem, right? And another thing with the Amazon is dead videos that we've seen, obviously we know that was just to get views, and it's something that I would personally never do, because it just doesn't make sense if you're an Amazon YouTuber and you're saying Amazon is dead. So people will do a lot of things just to get attention, right? Luckily it's something that I didn't do, and I will never do. But yeah, so anyway, talk to us about your future goals. And another great thing that I wanted to say was how you mentioned how this was like a stepping stone to more opportunities for you, right? Because you realize that online business is actually obviously accessible.
Yeah, once you kind of realize one model and you get yourself stuck into one model, other things start to make a little bit more sense. Where at the start of this journey, a lot of it was very confusing, and a lot of the terminology was very confusing, and is this real or is this fake kind of type mindset. Now being on the other side, it starts to open up your mind to other opportunities, and realizing that it's possible, and thinking, I can do that as long as I set my mind to it, then I can probably achieve that. So it's just a case of working out what direction you want to take your life in, which is kind of exciting.
So you said probably. Can you probably achieve that if you set your mind to it, or can you for sure achieve that?
For sure, but it depends how much you want it. I believe that anyone can do anything they want, and if they commit themselves, to a goal, then they can achieve it no matter what. Sometimes it might take someone longer than someone else, but I believe if someone really wants something, then they will get it eventually. So it's just a matter of how much you want it really, and whether you're just playing about or whether you're serious about making this work.
Yeah. So what are your plans now? What are you, did you set a higher goal for your Amazon business? I assume you did. Are you planning on traveling, like buying anything, any upgrades to your lifestyle, anything like that, or are you holding off?
Yeah, so I just did a bit of traveling actually. Me and my wife went on a bit of a road trip around Middle America, which was really fun.
Nice.
Kind of seeing like the canyons in Utah, and then we actually went down to Arizona as well, and then like finally finishing in Vegas. And it was nice to kind of be traveling and also have that money coming in from Amazon and not having to really spend any time on it at the same time, just checking it in the morning, refreshing the numbers and seeing that everything's okay.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to travel and do that at the same time. But next goal is going to kind of be increasing the profits of the Amazon FBA. So looking at 5,000 and then eventually 10,000 a month in profit. And that will be through adding more products, expanding the existing brand and maybe starting another brand as well. But then also using the cash from Amazon to inject into other businesses that I'm also trying to start at the same time. So it's really handy having that cash flow coming in without having to spend much time, because it gives you much more opportunity to either use that time or cash on other things, other bigger projects.
And your bigger projects, are they in any way related to online business or?
Yeah, so the other one is an online business. It's kind of a product that I started from university that I designed from scratch, and this was a lot of meeting the suppliers in Shenzhen as well, was creating this product from scratch. So that's what I'm selling at the moment, and also what I've learned from marketing on Amazon is really helping with the other businesses that I'm running at the same time.
Awesome. So I think that you are, like, you show a great example of the fact that, okay, yeah, you're making money, but the real journey and the real improvement in people that, like, I see constantly is not the fact that so you're making this money, that's great, but also more importantly the fact, like, your self-development as a human being.
Yeah.
Now you have more confidence in yourself because now you actually know, hey, like, if I want to try this other business, well, I'm not like skeptical automatically. I'm not like conditioned to be skeptical, because I know that if I commit to it, right, then I know I can do it, just like I did with Amazon, right? Yeah. Something that you had no idea how to do before, right? Yeah. So would you have been able to do all this without the Amazon Freedom course?
No, definitely not. Or I'd probably be about 5 or 10 years behind where I am now. Yeah. And potentially wasted a lot more money. I think it just helped in saving so much time and also not making silly mistakes when setting up, your Amazon account or making your shipping plan. It just kind of helped fast track the process. And also it was kind of like an insurance against wasting stupid money, I think, basically. Because they kind of showed step by step through the process what to do and what not to do from start to finish, which meant that I wasn't going to make a stupid mistake on, the shipping labels. I wasn't going to make a stupid mistake on UPC barcode. All little things like this that are really detailed and really technical, but could easily be overlooked and almost cost you quite a bit of money, I think.
Yeah, and you took advantage of the mentorship. I believe you messaged me, and did I look over your product, or did you not send me the successful one? Or
yeah. So I sent the products by you, and that was like a huge plus for me for the course, was actually speaking to you, because that was the only thing that I thought wasn't really linear. Everything else can kind of be learned over a certain amount of time, but this mentorship was really the key, because I could run the products I did by you. And that probably helped me with a lot of the confidence to commit, really, is you saying, okay, this one looks good, or this one doesn't look good. Or even when I sent you one of them, you said, like, okay, about 10 or 20 people have sent me this same product, so just be aware of that. And that was really helpful to get that insight, especially at that crucial time as well, because that's probably when you can make the most mistake is the choice of your product.
I think that, in reality, if you didn't have access to the course or the mentorship, I think you can probably learn everything, although it'd be very confusing. Like you said, it would take you 5 to 10 years or whatever. And even if you do learn all the stuff, and you decide to cheap out, and you decide to just, waste all your time doing that instead of just paying $4.97, for information and mentorship. I think even if you do get to that point, like you said, I think that you will probably spend a lot of money on wasteful products that are either restricted, banned, competitive, right? And it might take you 5 or 6. It might take you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of wasted money.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. Like, I think there's probably plenty of mistakes that could be made throughout the whole process, and you could end up, with a lot of inventory that you can't sell, and that's almost worst case scenario, really.
So the product that you sent me, did I say automatically it was like, it's golden, or what did I say?
Yeah, I think I sent you the first product, which is now successful. I sent you that. I sent you obviously the niche, kind of my idea to differentiate, and you kind of said, yeah, this is something I would do. And then also the second product that failed, I actually sent you, And that was the one that you said, okay, about 10 other people have sent me the same product just to make you aware.
And you did.
So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm still going to go for it, but make sure I differentiate hard enough. But that was the product that ended up failing, and I probably shouldn't have gone with.
Okay, got it. Awesome. So your plans for the future, I think we talked about that a little bit, but maybe 5-10 year goals, anything huge?
Not at the moment, no. I think I need to sit down and reassess my situation now, kind of with the money that I've got coming in. Make sure that I start to set up the business properly, you know, maybe bring an accountant on board and make sure I'm paying all the right taxes, etc., etc. But yeah, it's going to be looking to expand Amazon. I think it's really exciting because it's fun now, you know. It's no longer a necessity to get that money coming in. Now I can kind of look towards, you know, what do I enjoy most, what excites me most. So that's what I'm going to be looking to do in the future.
Awesome. And right now you're in New York, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just a question. What made you move from Hong Kong to New York?
My wife, actually.
Okay, cool.
So we were both working in different cities, and then we decided just to move together in New York. So it was quite difficult seeing each other on opposite sides of the world, like a 17-hour flight, I think it was, which is like the longest flight.
And yeah, that's insane. And your Amazon business allowed you to move to New York.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. And you know, when we were making the decision, for me, it was kind of like, I'm flexible. It doesn't really matter where I go. I can go wherever. You know, this is my budget. And so now we've kind of got at the moment, she's got a job here in New York, and so we have to be based here. But for me personally, it doesn't really matter where I am at the moment. Okay. I kind of like that.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I think our interview was great. Thanks for, it was an honor to have you. And yeah, if you want, of course, after this, we'll talk about, we'll have like a mentorship session. So maybe you want to talk to me about any products you're thinking. So yeah, we'll be glad to have that. And for those of you watching, if you guys want to join the Amazon Freedom course, link for that is right down below. So you guys can go ahead and sign up, and there's a link in there. You guys can send me a message for mentorship. We'll get started going on that. And in fact, I think that my course is the only one since the beginning where I've been, like every single day answering everybody's messages since the very beginning. And, I'm not saying that, hey, I'm so good. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I didn't want to take away the most crucial part of the course, right? And which I believe is the mentorship, which I believe is the reason why you succeeded, because you had access to me, right? And you actually were able to send me your product, and ask me if it's good or not. So yeah, so anyway, awesome, man. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media, and I'll see you guys soon.